then a tura is identified for two reasons in a corral.
I think Honorable Mbo wants to bond as a
yes. We need some
as a former Gainako,
yes.
You are quite right. Because you could be a cow, for example, a female.
Yeah.
But you are not up to that stage where you can bear.
Yes.
Then bearing type, that's where we call the wall of they call it the female part, they call the wulu, which means you are beyond calf,
yes,
but you have reached the stage where you can bear.
Yes.
Now on the type of the other side, which is the male part, you can be a male calf, but you are not kui, nekolo kui, tura.
Yes,
you are not tura. Yeah, exactly, because there are different sizes, even though they are all male, but they're different sizes.
You can't get married as a male. That's a tura. Yeah.
What we are referring to is, in Mandinka, for example, is yere.
Yere, yes.
Yere.
So when you are buying a cow, when you want to go and create, like I explained in a business, continuing basis. If you are buying a cow for continuing basis, you only buy a yere or a tura. But that's not all female and that's not all male. So I had this in my mind, so I had to challenge the livestock, because I know that if I can see yeros and turas, I know that their value tends to be higher than a normal cow. But if you value them based on meat value, then meat does not make any discrimination between what type of cow, whether it's a yere or it's a tura. So this was the basis I was challenging the valuation. But he explained to me that it is their custom to value as they do. And I was not the specialist. And that's why they were calling. So I can only ask, but I could not impose myself on another professional.
Fair enough.
So this is the basis on which these values were derived.
So this was consistent for all the cattle?
Yes.
Could you remember how many cattle there were?
The number of, was around 700 or slightly less than 7 or slightly more, around that.
Should 500 be number?
Here there were cattle in Kanilai, you could see. There were that's where most of the cattle were. Then there was Farato, and there was Banjulunding, which is not mentioned here, but it's mentioned in our email or report to the commission, to say that most of the cows were in Kanilai. Some were in Farato, the Farato farm of the ex-president, and few were in Banjulunding. The day we did Farato, when we finished, we went to Banjulunding, and we found that the cows had already dispersed. So I remember we just counted what was there, but we couldn't get the number of cows, but it was the lesser of the three. Yeah.
So just to circle back a bit.
Yeah.
Upon assuming office, did the commission take account of specifically the cows, or did the commission take account of the assets that were attached to the schedule?
I think the commission was relying on what the Registrar General was providing. Yes. Because this was the first counting of the cows.
So each and every one of the cows itemized on this list were valued by Gilmer, correct? On that basis of meat value.
Exactly.
The document before you, could you read out 4, 10, 13, 22, and 27 for the record?
Which one?
You had already read out 4, so
yes.
Perhaps we can move to 10.
10. Number 10, tag number 1251. The type of livestock is a cow. The sex is female. The estimated weight is 105 kilograms, and the price range is between $18,000, is up to $18,900.
So the weighing, how did they do the weighing? What instrument was used?
They came as experts. So they, when they came, I asked them, "But where is the weight?" And they said they can look at a cow and estimate the weight, the meat value, based on their experience. So there is nothing I can do about that too.
So just to clear the record, no instrument was used to weigh. It was done through
Observation.
visual observation.
Yes, there was. I did not remember seeing any equipment.
Look at 22 as well, for the record. And just read it out. Yes. Number 22 on the list. It's on.
Yes. 22, tag number 8494. Type of livestock, cow. Sex, female. Estimated weight in kilograms, 80 kilograms. Price range, 14,400. They had a small calculator, yes. They had a small calculator, I remember. So when they looked at a cow, that's the tool I remember, yeah. When they looked at a cow, maybe they estimate the kilogram, 80 kilogram, they will multiply it by they have a rate for meat. Ready? Hello? Yes, like I said, they had a small calculator, now I remember, how to move from the kilogram to the value. So when they estimated that it's 80 kilograms, they multiply it by the meat rate, the rate per kilogram for meat that they brought, and then they get 14,400.
So they had an instrument after all.
Yes, they had a calculator for conversion from kilograms to dollars.
Let's look at one more from page 1. Read out 13, number 13 on the list.
Number 13, tag number 1751. Type of livestock is a calf. It's a female. It's considered to be estimated 8 kilograms, and it is valued at 1,600. So there is the problem of valuation, continuing basis or meat basis, or Yero and Pura.
Honorable Chair.
I think what we have is 1,400.
Yes, sorry, if I did, I'm sorry. It's 8 kilograms, 1,440 is the price value for number 13. Thank you.
And that was for a calf.
Yes, that was a calf.
As a former gyneco, does the status of gyneco leave you?
Oh no, that never leaves.
So as a gyneco, would this price be reasonable?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that a calf, if you are using meat value, a calf has very little meat. This must be a very young calf to weigh 8, maybe newly born. So it's not even a meat. I mean, maybe in some countries, but in Gambia, that's not a meat. So if you value that, but you are still using meat basis, However, for example, if this is a female, if you give it 1 year or in 6 months' time, in 1 year time, it can become a year old. And the value would have shot up far more than this. So you see the technical issue there.
Sure. And just to ride along your experience as a gyneco, you have left your accounting experience to the side now.
Okay.
Most of the cattle that you have read out are female, and we see that consistently there is a higher price attributed to the male, or the bull rather.
Yes.
The male cattle.
Yes.
As compared to the cow.
Yes.
Was there an explanation for that?
Yes.
Is there an explanation for that?
Yes, because if you go to most cattle farms, you can have a full farm of maybe 50 to 100 cattle, and maybe there is already 2 bulls or 1 for a number of reasons. Because they can fight, and their fight can be deadly once they are real bulls. So most cattle owners like to preserve and have only 1 or 2, within there that can breed with the females. So most cattle farms usually have more females than bulls because of that reason. The other reason being that when people are killing for sacrifice and other things, they don't kill at all. Very rarely. They kill bull because once they reach a certain stage, they deteriorate in value. So you need to kill them before they deteriorate. While for the females, they can continue to breed, for a very long time. So you very rarely kill the females when you want breeding. So this may be some of the reasons why they are more valued. Because why would you need a bull, right, or a tura in the cattle field? Is because of the power, the strength that they have. That's the main reason why they are there. So they have to be big.
So I am focusing on the valuation process because it also is central to our mandate as a committee.
Yeah.
And the committee is trying to make sense of the valuation. So, for example, you look at 28, which is a cow, and it weighs 110, and it is valued at just under 20,000.
Yes.
If you look at a similar weight for a bull,
Yeah.
the closest I can find is 53 at 165, and it's just under 30,000. It seems like the value of a bull consistently exceeds that of a cow.
Yeah, you have to also put in context that the cows at Jammeh'S farms are different species. There is what you call the local Gambian species. I don't know whether they call it Ndama or what in English. That's the Gambian. Then there is the foreign species. And when you look at them as a Gambian, you know that, I can be a guy now, but I've never seen this type of cow before because they look different. With the hunchback, I remember asking the soldier, what is inside the hunch? Because I've never seen this kind of, he told me it's all meat. So they are different. That's all beefsteak on the hunch. So they are different, and it would the report did not mention the species, but that could be one of the reasons why you will have differences.
I was going to get to that, the species.
Yeah.
Was it, in your view, a fundamental lapse? I understand your position that you cannot dictate the work of professionals, but was it a fundamental lapse to omit the species?
I mean, yeah, you will have to look at it in the context of what purpose does it serve to put a particular description in your report. If you, well, they know the species. I only know in Gambia that there is a Ndama cattle, only Gambian cattle. The other species may be from different countries, as I quote, you know, and they may be better in position to explain, you know, what are the species. But when I said the context, what I mean is that now you want value from the sales after you do the valuation. Right? For me, based on my experience of selling them, I mean, sitting here now, maybe that time I didn't have experience of selling cows or whatever, but sitting here now, what I experience and also with the vehicles, you can put a value. A valuer may put any value for a cow or a vehicle or a tractor. But the sales value that you get depends on the process you put in place to make a sale. The more transparent the process, even if the valuer says 20,000, you can earn 60,000, 3 times that price, if your process is transparent. The less transparent it is, no matter what the valuation is, the less value you will derive. That's my experience.
You had mentioned that there were 3 points at which cattle were in custody. Kanilai, Parato, and I believe Banjulindi.
Yeah, even in Kanilai, it was not one corral. It was 2 or 3 corrals. I mean, how do you call corral in English? Okay, one group of cows. So it's not, herd of cattle were not positioned in one place only. There were about 2 or 3 locations. You have one corral here.
Are you referring to the locations or the group of cows?
No, when you say corral, it also means
the place.
A group stationed in a particular point.
Okay, the range.
Yes, the range. But then they put them usually in a fence.
Yes.
So they will have a fence here for this range, and then maybe another place they have another range. So when you do here, you move to the next one, the next range, you know, which are all within the Kanilai fence, but they are not stationed in the same. So in Kanilai, you have 1 or 2 or 3 ranges, and then you have, because you cannot keep 500 cows in one corral.
So before we move on to the other ranges, in fact,
yeah.
When you say Kanilai, where in Kanilai exactly?
If you've been to Kanilai, you drive past the president's residence. Then you go right into the forest. Because I asked the soldier, how big is the place? And he said to me, it's about 10,000 square meters, 10 square kilometers.
And you made mention of a fence. So this whole entire place is fenced?
No, Kanilai is fence upon fence, or fence inside fence, inside fence, inside fence.
Are you referring to Kanilai the place, or Kanilai the president's?
Yeah, Kanilai the president's residence. Is fence inside fence, inside fence.
Got it. That's it.
So in a particular area in there, that's where you have the cows in one location. Then you go to another area of the range, you find them.
Just to zero in to your analogy of fence, inside fence, inside fence.
Yeah.
Just to understand, there is a greater fence for the Kanilai, let's call it the compound, even though it's much larger than a compound.
Yes, that's what I asked, and they told me it's 10 square kilometers, the greater fence.
So there's a greater fence.
Yes.
And then there are specific points where there are ranges, which are also seemingly fenced.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. And other fences for other things.
Great.
Like the crocodiles will have their fence area, and then you will have the fence area of his immediate compound.
Yes.
Then you have maybe the fence area before you get out of the compound to go into the range. So like that, you go through gates. So yeah.
The fence upon fence denotes that there was some bit of security with regards to the upkeep of the cattle. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's a very secure place. I mean, it was manned by, I believe, a battalion or something like that, because there were a whole lot of soldiers there. They never left.
So on top of fence upon fence upon fence, there was a battalion of soldiers manning the cattle.
Not manning the cattle,
Well,
manning Kanilai, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
If that was the case, then how come there is accounts or record of cattle going missing, except for the fact that 300, was it 400? 400 cattle were slaughtered.
Yeah, I see, just like you saw, that 400 were slaughtered. I don't know the circumstances under which they were slaughtered and who and why they were slaughtered. I just see the report.
So when in that process of identifying, perhaps what I omitted to ask was, who you did mention that you met some folks on the ground.
Yeah.
Who were those persons?
There was a major in charge. He's the one that we normally deal with when we go there. He's a major. You know, there's always one name, major, then surname. I forgot the surname. It is Sanyang or something. Yeah, he was the guy that was in charge of because I think within the security, they all have their, maybe there is an overall commander, but this was the guy that we had to deal with when it comes to the cattle.
Okay. Please confirm that on this list, Banjulinding does not feature as a point in which the commission visited a range.
Yeah, it's not here. Like I said, it was considered to be the list of the list amount of cattle there, and when we went there, they had already released them. We just met few on the way, so it could not have been reasonably, done here. But obviously, we were going to make sure that before the valuation, it was just a small contingent that we have taken note. But obviously, as you could see, at this point, after we conclude Farato, there was the telephone calls and there were emails, and then the process was transferred to the sheriff.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kurang. We were still on this point. We would still be on this point. However, all this talk about meat, I'm sure, has wiled our two chairs.
Appetite.
Yes, second us, and perhaps this is a convenient place for us to take lunch, Honorable Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Council. We can adjourn the meeting for lunch break, and we'll resume at 3:30. 3:30 we'll resume again. I think that's fine.
Thank you.